Hey guys, Marissa at KitchenTableStamper.com. I've got the last card in the series from Paper and Ink Card Class. Paper and Ink Card Class is an in-person class I do in my Rolling Meadows home. Chicago area stampers. All adults are welcome. If you got questions about class, you can email me, Marissa at KitchenTableStamper.com. This gorgeous card features two of my favorite coordinating products from the annual catalog. My Darling Label Punch Box. Now, if you guys know, you know that these punch boxes are a little bit out of my price range. I'm not comfortable with the $45 price point, but I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, so I can be the demonstrator and get my discount, and the hostess and get the host rewards. So what I did with my punch box is I saved up a half price item from one of the events that I hosted, and I got my Darling Label punch box for half price, and that's a better price point in my opinion. Being a demonstrator is just more fun because we get all the benefits. If you got questions about joining the kitchenette or about joining Stampin' Up, you can email me with those too. I'd be happy to answer all your questions about how awesome it is to be a Stampin' Up demonstrator. So the Darling Label punch box is $45 and it includes a 6-piece stamp set. I really love this this stamp set. We're going to use the Thanks with the floral, but there's something for everything in here. There's Congratulations Rock Star and Happy Birthday Friend, Best Wishes, Thinking of You, and Hello. So all occasion greetings. Comes with Peekaboo Peach, or I'm sorry, comes with Grapefruit Grove and Night of Navy Stampin' Spots, a block, and the Darling Label punch, which I have out over here. I love this punch. All right, so that's Darling Label punch box, and it coordinates with Stampin' Up's very vintage Clearmount stamp set. This is a host set. You can't buy very vintage, but you can earn it for free with your Stampin' Rewards. Now, Stampin' Rewards are rewarded on any order over $150, whether it's a party or your own individual order, and you can cash in those Stampin' Rewards for exclusive stamp sets like Very Vintage. And you see the Very Vintage coordinates with the Darling Label punch and has a beautiful coordinated design between the art in the Very Vintage and that in the Darling Label punch box. All right, so let me show you the other items that you need to make this card. Besides my Darling Label punch, I've got my 2-inch circle punch, got Stampin' Blends in Real Red Combo Pack and a Dark Granny Apple, my Stampin' Pad, Memento Tuxedo Black for this project. I've got some basic black mini sequin trim. There's a printable project sheet on the blog, so if you're watching on YouTube, you can click the link to the blog below, and then embedded in the blog post is the video, and below that is a clickable link to the project sheet. You'll always find measurements on supply list and a full color photo in a printable format on the blog, so you don't have to scramble any of this down. All right, so for the consumable materials, you'll need a card base, basic black, 8.5 by 5.5, and scored at 4 1/4. I've got 2 pieces of Whisper White that are 4 by 5 1/4. Got a scrap of Whisper White. This one is 2 by 3 1/4. That's for our Darling Label punch. Littlest scrap of Coastal Cabana, 1/2 inch by 1 1/4 is more than enough. Use up your scraps. 2-inch vellum circle punch, and then I've got a 1/2 inch black shimmer ribbon, and this is about 3 inches. All right, so what we're gonna do here is take this ribbon while we've got it and our snips, and we're gonna cut a dovetail on both ends. So I like to fold it and then cut from the outside edge in, and we want to do the best that we can here to get some even dovetails. So I'm going to fold it again and cut from the outside edges into the center. All right, so I took about I don't know, 1/2 inch off of each one. You want your finished ribbon to be about 2.5 inches wide. Now I'm going to get my Stampin' Pierce mat, and we're gonna do a little Stampin' here. All right, so I got my Stampin' Pierce mat and my Memento Tuxedo Black. I'm gonna ink up and stamp the image there. And then I'm going to give that just a second to dry. I can get this out of here. And let's protect our work surface. We're gonna stamp off the edge a couple of times here. So let's bring in our sample so you can see what I'm doing. I've got this gorgeous floral, and I'm gonna ink it up really well. It's very detailed, so you wanna really watch how you're inking. You want full coverage. We're gonna stamp it once up, and we're just staying about 1/4 of an inch from the right edge and just barely off the top. And then we're gonna do the same thing, ink it up really well, especially watching that center part of the image. And then flip and stamp again, going down from the first image. All right, now we're gonna take our second piece. We're gonna ink up just this top half of our floral here. And we're gonna stamp off the bottom right corner. Okay, there's a bunch of different greetings to choose from in Very Vintage. I'm gonna take Your Blessing. I think that goes well with the thanks on the cover. Ink that up and stamp it so it's nuzzled right in with the flowers. That gives us a white surface that we can write on the inside of our black card base, and keeps that beautiful black and white kind of vintage theme going. All right, so we need one more bit of stamping here. All right, I'm going to ink up my thanks greeting and just capture that in Coastal Cabana. There it is. All right, stamping's done. Let me clear away the Stampin' Pierce mat and we'll get this card put together. All right, so let's start by adding some of these layers here so we can cut down some of the pieces we have floating around. So I'm going to take my inside and put it right in centered, and then the front of the card, let's get that on the card base. We're going to center that one, even basic black border all the way around. Now, we've got a little vellum here, and what we want to do is go straight across the back of the vellum with our adhesive, and that way when we add our ribbon trim and our label, the adhesive will all be covered. We won't see anything at all. Got my Stampin' Blends, and I'm going to take my light Real Red and color in my blooms. And I'm not going completely edge to edge on this, believe it or not. I'm going to leave some little white highlights at the very end of the petals. And I'll take my dark Real Red and moving out from the center, I'm just going to scribble some shadow that radiates out from the center of the bloom. And then bring those two shades together, creating kind of a third shade blended, and touch some of those white areas. We don't want huge white highlights, just a little bit. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to take my dark Granny Apple and color in these leaves. I'm just touching with the dark Granny Apple and no blending at all here, just color in. I'm gonna add a little bit more depth with this dark Real Red coming from the center of the flower here. I feel like it needs a little bit more shadow. Love it. Now my darling label punch. Pop that in and we're gonna punch it out. Now it's gonna punch off the edges of those leaves, and it's not a big deal. Still looks great. So I got the Coastal Cabana thanks here, and I'm just gonna cut out the greeting with the tiniest little hair of Coastal Cabana past the black line. Nice straight cuts, very easy. A little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue on the back. And I love the dimension that this adds. Putting that Coastal Cabana cardstock on top of the Whisper White. It really adds like a third dimension. It's gorgeous. Now we need to put a little bit of tear and tape on that vellum circle. Peel and expose the adhesive. And then we'll take that ribbon that we prepared at the beginning and pop that right across the center of that vellum circle, and some dimensional adhesive on the back of our label. All right, a couple of pieces of dimensional adhesive and center that right in the vellum circle. Gorgeous. All right, last step here, we're gonna do a little bit of embellish, get some sparkle. Let me see, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but in the centers of the flowers and then kind of off the edge, we're gonna use some of this mini sequin trim. And the fun part about this trim is that you can just tear it right apart. So we're gonna pull the sequins off and use the individual little sequins to add some sparkle. It's a great way to use this trim in a way that maybe it wasn't intended for. I love a multitasker. So we need quite a few, maybe 8 or 10 little sequins. I know I'll lose a few as I go, so pull off a couple extra. And if you just hold the edge of the sequin and pull, it just unravels and comes right off the end. All right, so what I need now is some multi-purpose liquid glue and my Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to add some dots of multi-purpose liquid glue in the center of the flower here, tiniest little dots, and then 3 dots coming up from the label in kind of a triangle pattern. Then I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool, pick up all those little sequins that I dropped everywhere, and I'm going to put them in that adhesive that's just waiting for them on the card. So don't lose track where you put your glue, especially in the pattern on the background there. It's easier to see it on the centers of the flowers. All right, so we did 3 up from the flowers and the center of the flowers. Now I'm going to go 3 down from the flowers. So I've got 8 total little bling, and just drop them into the glue. Love this Take Your Pick tool. And there they are. We add a little sequin bling. There's thanks. And then inside, your blessing. All right, you guys, if you've got questions about this card, you've got questions about the punch box and the coordinated very vintage host set, questions about the Stampin' Rewards, or joining Stampin' Up, email me, Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com. Thanks for watching.